Welcome. This is a voiceover as the mic did not work. My apologies. Closing your eyes. Check in with the reason that you arrived at the mat. Begin to feel into your breath. Maybe even place your hands around your rib cage and then breathe into your hands. As each breath comes in, feel the lower rib cage expanding. And as each breath leaves the body, feel it descending back towards the spine. Once you have a good connection to the breath moving into the rib cage, you can release the hands and then keep your attention on the breath throughout the remainder of the practice. For this practice, you're invited to continue with Ujjayi Pranayam. It's that feeling in the back of the throat that you'd be fogging up a mirror with that HA sound, except that your lips are closed. So if you're not sure how to do that, you can make that sound with your mouth open and then close your lips. And that is Ujjayi Pranayam. As you inhale, you can feel and experience the breath moving in with both sound and vibration. Breathing in, you feel the expansion. And breathing out, you feel the pelvic floor and the lower belly contracting. As you breathe in, the diaphragm is descending. And as you breathe out, the diaphragm is relaxing and moving up. Keeping your attention on the breath through the remainder of the practice, let it settle your mind and create an internal focus. Let's come to standing at the top of the mat. Come to face the narrow end of your mat. Coming into Tadasana, spreading the toes wide and feeling the center of your heel connected to the earth. Feeling that distribution of the weight. As you feel yourself rooting down, simultaneously feel yourself rising up, moving in two directions from your navel. Feel the kneecaps gently lifting through the strength of the quadriceps, the crown of the head rising to the sky. Inhale, reaching the arms above the head. Exhale, hinging up and out of the pelvis over to one side. Keep rooting down through the feet and expanding into that open side body with breath. Pressing through the feet, inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, up and over to the other side. Inhale, coming back up through center. Separate the hands about shoulder width apart. The Fingers can be slightly soft. Relax the shoulders. Feel the chest lifting up, shining to the sky, to a very gentle back bend. Feel the support of your glutes and your quadriceps, your connection to the earth below and the sky above. Exhale, folding forward over the thighs. Inhale, reaching up through the crown, chest parallel to the floor. Exhale, folding again. Inhale, lengthening, halfway up. Exhale, cascading over the thighs. Inhale one more time, reaching and lengthening, feeling sensation into the back of the leg, broadening across the collarbones. Continuing with your Ujjayi Pranayam. Exhale, perhaps folding a little deeper over those thighs as you plant your hands on the floor and step your feet back, finding plank and then lowering your knees. Exhale, draw the sitting bones back. Inhale, shift your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, sitting bones back towards the heels, lengthening from wrists to tailbone. Inhale, shoulders over wrists. Exhale again, broadening the armpits, shining them to the floor. Inhale, heart forward, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, sitting bones draw back to the heels. And softening down, nestling those sitting bones in towards the heels. Maybe use your hands, press them into the floor to press the sitting bones back a little more, and then soften. Soften the brain, soften the forehead, soften the shoulders, but stay honed into the breath. Feel as if you can experience that breath through the entire back part of the torso. Imagining that torso like a blank canvas and your breath like paint that you're spreading across the canvas of your back. Feeling the breath moving in, feeling it moving out. Breathing energy in as you breathe in, and exhaling any staleness, any heaviness as you breathe out. Place the hands on the floor. Spread the fingers wide, shift shoulders over wrists, tuck the toes under, and descend the sitting bones up and back into downward facing dog, slowly pedaling those heels down towards the ground. Allowing those heels to alternate in coordination with your breath, inhaling as a heel rises and exhaling as a heel lowers. Inhale, both heels in the sky, and exhale, lowering them down wherever they go. Don't walk your feet closer to your hands just to get your heels on the floor. Keep a distance, that beautiful V between your wrists and your feet. Feel the thigh bones pressing back in space. The heels hidden behind the ankles. The connection to your breath. Inhale, shift shoulders over wrists. Lower the knees to the ground. And come down onto your forearms, the elbows underneath the shoulders, interlacing your fingers. Tuck one pinky finger in front of the other. Begin to draw the sitting bones back up to the sky as we come into Dolphin Pose. So the heels will very likely not find the ground here. That's not the intention. We're starting to strengthen the upper body as we lengthen the lower body. Again, you might find pedaling helpful, doing it slowly and mindfully with sensation. Inhale both heels, same height, and let your chest come forward, gazing past the hands. Draw the sitting bones up and back into the V, and then shift the heart forward into a forearm plank. Draw the belly towards the back body. Stay in union with your breath here. And last time, as you shift forward, lower the knees to the floor, draw the sitting bones back towards the heels. Soften the shoulders, wrap the hands around the low back, rest the forehead on the ground. Releasing the hands forward once again, spreading your fingers wide. Inhale, right arm out to the side. Exhale, weaving it underneath the other arm, coming to the outer part of your upper arm bone there. Finding a little bit of a spinal twist. And wrapping perhaps the other arm around the low back. Breathing and opening across the collarbones. Allowing the top shoulder blade to come a little closer to the bottom shoulder blade. Keeping those hips stacked above the knees. And release that out. Plant the right hand on the floor. Inhale, reach the left arm out to the side. Follow it with your gaze. Exhale, weaving that arm under, coming to rest on the outer part of that arm. Make sure you're not pressing into the neck here. Keeping the knees and the hips in the same line. Wrapping the right arm around the low back. Breathing here. Releasing out. Tuck the toes under. Draw the chest back towards the thighs. Stretch out the under part of the feet. You walk your hands a little more forward so that the ears can rest in that space between the upper arm bones as those arms are parallel. Elbows aren't bending out, and you're feeling a broadness and a strength in your upper back. Use that arm strength to draw yourself forward and press up, lifting up off of those knees, but keeping that spine parallel to the floor. Using the abdominal support here, those core muscles as you press the floor away with the hands, feeling the upper back come closer to the sky without overarching. Breathing and exhale back into downward dog. Begin to step your feet towards the edges of your mat, so the outer edges of your feet line up with the edges of the mat. Draw the heels down towards the ground, press your chest towards the thighs, keeping connection to the fingertips and the knuckles in the hand. Breathe. Gently, yes and no with the head. Relax the jaw. Now bring your feet towards the center of your mat. Let your big toes touch, your heels come together. Inhale, peel your heels off the floor. And as you exhale, keeping the ankles and the heels glued together, descend down on the diagonal to one side. Inhale back up through center, keeping those legs glued together. Exhale over to the other side. So you're getting into the IT band area here. Inhale back up through center. Separate your feet hip distance apart. With abdominal control, lower those knees back down to the ground. Let your shoulders come above your knees as you come into a kneeling pose. Reaching the arms up out of the shoulders. Shoulders, hips, and knees in one long line. Tucking the toes under. Begin to open your arms wide and look back past that back arm. Looking back past those right fingers. Sweeping the right arm down and take that up and over to the other side. So you're now looking out past your left fingers. Sweep that arm down and back through center. Hands to the heart. Stepping your right foot forward, knee over ankle. Draw your left knee back a lot. Tucking the back toes. Let your hips draw forward. Hands resting on that front thigh. Pull up the pelvic floor. Inhale, left arm sweeps up alongside the air, and exhale, reaching up and over to the right, breathing into that left side body. Keep that front knee stacking above the ankle. Big toe connected to the earth. Inhale, reaching left arm up, and exhale, planting it down underneath the shoulder. Pivot the chest towards the bent knee, spiraling through the heart. Wrapping the right arm around the low back, opening the chest a little bit more. Releasing the right hand down. Switch sides, please. Check that the front knee and the front ankle are in the same line. Draw the right knee back a lot to open up the front of the hip. Pull the pelvic floor in and up so you don't feel like your insides are hanging out. Left big toe stays connected to the earth. Inhale, reaching the arms up to the sky. Or you can keep them on your front thigh if you did that on the other side. The arms extending up adds a little bit more intensity to the back bend. The right arm alongside that right ear as you reach and hinge over towards the left, breathing into the right rib cage. Inhale that arm up and exhale, plant it down. Draw the sitting bones up and back. I'm staying on the tips of my fingers here for a few breaths just to strengthen my hands, strengthen my fingers. You can come back to palms on the ground. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Now make sure that right side of the pelvis is the same height as the left, and that you're feeling into your hamstring area along that leg that's on the ground. Let the pinky toe of the extended, elevated foot point down to the ground, and keep both armpits shining down towards the mat. And exhale, lower that foot down. Lengthen that leg out and inhale, reaching the left leg up to the sky. Bring your pelvis so once again it's the same height on the left and the right side of your body. Drawing the pinky toe down towards the earth as you press the earth away with your hands. And release that down. Walk your feet towards the top of the mat. Inhale and exhale, cascading the upper body over the legs. It's like water is pouring out of the top of the pelvis, not rounding here or dropping from the mid part of your spine. Let this originate from your pelvis. Breathing here, breathing into the back of the legs, breathing into the length of the spine. Blocks, of course, are always optional. If the floor is not close to you, bring the floor to you by using a block. Begin to bend the right knee and open the left arm up to the sky, pressing into the left foot. The right hand can be on the ground or on a block. So the right knee is bent, right hand on the ground, rotating your chest towards the left. Feeling the lengthening into the left hamstrings. Exhale, release that hand down. Lengthen the right leg, bend into the left. Left hand on the floor, spiral your heart. Open your chest to the sky, pressing down through the right leg, feeling length into the right hamstrings. And release that hand down. Bending the knees, sweep the arms alongside the legs, press the earth away, rise up, lifting the chest. A little bit more of a back bend as you bring your palms together. Let your thumbs come towards your spine, shining your elbows to the sky. The heart lifting up and out, reaching the torso out of the pelvis. And exhale, hands back to your heart. Staying with your breath, so important as we begin to enter into our standing balance pose. So I'll turn to face you. Your feet will be hip distance apart. And the leg that you're standing on, make sure all of those toes stay on the ground through the duration of this balance pose. So left toes spreading down, heel reaching down, draw the right knee so it's about hip height, and lift your heart and keep pressing down into the standing leg to help you elevate upwards and find stability. The right hand can stay on the knee or reach to the inside edge of the leg for the big toe. If you bent forward to grab the toe, lengthen your head back up towards the sky. If it's available, extend your foot towards me, lengthening through the back of the leg, gazing just past your toes. Take this leg out to the side. You can look out over your shoulder. You can bend the knee. You can even let those right toes touch the floor as a modification. Keep pressing in towards the left foot. And draw that right knee back to center, holding underneath the thigh or around the shin. Hug the knee in a little bit more. Keep reaching the crown up to the sky. If you'd like, you can take the sole of your foot. With both hands, reach the foot forward without folding your torso forward. So keep the crown reaching up, draw the shoulder blades back. And you want to make sure your shoulders stay above your hips. Release that down. And I'll show you from the side. So you'll notice that I don't lean back as I perform this, nor do I fold forward. So this time the right foot, right toes stay spread along the earth. Feeling Mula Bandha, pelvic floor supporting you, keeping your chest lifted. Lower belly drawing in. Press into the earth with your right foot as you draw your left thigh bone parallel to the ground. So the right knee is at hip height. Option to bend that left knee, maybe taking the big toe, keeping the shoulders above the hips. And if you can keep the shoulders above the hips, start to lengthen out that left leg. Keep pressing into the right leg and reaching the crown of the head to the sky, gazing past those left toes. Taking it out wide. Maybe looking over the right shoulder. Remember the options to bend the knee, plant that left foot on the ground as you keep that hip open. Bring that leg back to center, holding the shin, drawing it nice and close. Or perhaps both hands around the sole of the foot as you reach that left foot forward. Draw your shoulders back in space. Bending the knee as an option and releasing it down. Take your feet wide now. Lining up the outer edges of your feet with the short end of your mat. Press the earth away with your feet. Feel your quadriceps active. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other in the back body. Exhale, melting the heart forward in space. Releasing the hands to the ground or to the blocks. Keeping the outer edges of the feet connected to the earth, all 10 toes. Quadriceps staying active. Descending the crown down and the sitting bones up. Hands coming onto the hips. Bending the knees slightly, press the earth away. Inhale, coming up. Interlace your hands behind your back. And exhale, fold forward again. Hands may come towards the sky, maybe reach towards the earth. Keep the weight through both the front and the back of the feet, and the sitting bones are not pressing back in space. Think about them reaching up versus pressing back. Hands back on the hips, press the earth away, come up. Make sure you're still in contact with your breath, and then exhale, fold through for a third time. Take your peace fingers around your big toes. So your fingers are in between your big toe and your second toe, and your elbows are coming out wide to enhance the stretch, pressing into the floor. Use your elbows to draw out wide, squeeze the shoulder blades together, quadriceps lifting, hamstrings lengthening. Breathing here into this deep forward fold. Hands back on the hips, press into the earth as you rise up. And exhale, step your feet together. And come back to the top of the mat if you're not there. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward in space. Inhale, lift your chest slightly, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Staying in Tadasana for a few breaths. We will be going into a pose that requires really open hamstrings, which will make sense. The sequence will make sense. Everything is purposeful and intentional. Stepping that right foot back. Lower the right knee to the ground. Make sure there's a lot of distance, a lot of opening. You want to make sure that front ankle is underneath the front knee, so help it along there. Feeling the opening front of that right hip. Begin to toe heel your left foot over to the side of your mat. Maybe moving a little bit deeper into the hip here. Maybe sliding your right knee back even further and descending down onto your forearms. If you've drawn your forearms to the ground, draw your heart forward in space. You're not rounding out your back. And feel that extend into the front of the right hip. And the opening through the left hip. Hands underneath the shoulders. Toe heel your foot back so it's underneath that armpit. And start to lengthen your right leg back a little bit more. And we're moving into Hanumanasana, which is the splits. So you can modify with a block or a bolster underneath that left sitting bone or the left side of your pelvis. And continue to inch your left toes forward, your left heel forward, as you keep working on sliding the right knee back. I'm going to choose to remain in a more modified version and use my block today. This is what's right for me today. Check that back leg is in nice alignment too. If you wish, you can come down into those full splits. But again, I'm going to stay in a modified version. That's what I need today. Always, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Learning to listen to the body. What does it need today? Breathing and bending that left knee, bring that foot back. And we will switch sides. Let's step the right foot forward. Again, check that alignment and step it really far forward. Let the right knee come over the right ankle and slide the left knee back a lot. She's got a lot of space here between that front foot and that back knee, creating more distance between those two. Pelvic floor draws in and up. Begin to toe heel your right foot out towards the side of the mat and draw your right hand to the inner edge of that thigh. The toes may pick up off the floor on that front leg. Stabilize the ankle and let the rotation come from that right hip socket, drawing down onto the forearms perhaps, and then shifting the heart forward in space. Hands helping to press you up, toe heel that foot back to hip distance, and slide that back knee back more. Begin to move into Hanumanasana the Splits, remembering the option of the prop underneath your pelvis. Make sure that you're not bending that back knee and lifting one side of your hip off kilter. If so, then back off from this pose. You want the kneecap to point down to the floor, all 5 toes of the back leg down on the ground, toenails on the ground, and that front foot, the toes, point to the sky. Breathing here. Being present with the breath here. This is a challenging pose, so if you've forced yourself into the shape, you'll notice that you may be holding the breath. Back off if you're holding the breath. And start to ease out. Knees underneath those hips. Let your shoulders come above those hips. Hands coming just onto your low back. Inhale, lift your heart to the sky. Keeping the hips, the knees in one line. I'm going to stay in the modified version of Camel today. If you'd like to bring your hands to your heels or the soles of your feet, by all means do. The focus here is lifting the back of the heart up to the front and up to the sky. Breathing across the collarbones, hands helping to support the back and the belly coming in towards the back body. And release the sitting bones down towards the heels. Now let your feet swing over towards the right, and you're going to bring that left foot onto the front of that right thigh. So the ankle's on the floor, the sole of the foot is shining to that thigh, rotating over towards the left. That right glute is off of the ground. Having an internal rotation here of that right hip. Inhale back to center. Let your knees shift to the other side. So the right foot is on the front of that left quadricep. Inhale, and as you exhale, rotating towards the right. So now have a nice internal rotation of that left hip, that left thigh. And of course, a bit of a spinal twist. Breathing and feeling, feeling and breathing. Inhale back through center. Reaching your left foot forward, cross the right ankle over the left knee. If you're slouching, please come more forward on your sitting bones, get tall. Left toes point to the sky. Take a deep breath in to the base of the spine. And as you exhale out of your crown, begin to hug that right knee in. Inhale, get tall. And exhale, revolving over towards the right. Each in-breath, an opportunity to explore length in the spine. And each out-breath, an opportunity to release tension. Inhale back through center. Switch sides. Get tall. Inhale for length. The bottom leg is strong, pressing the thigh bone to the ground. Exhale, revolve the right shoulder towards the inner left thigh. Hug that knee in close. When you hug that knee in close, remind yourself to get tall again. Inhale and exhale to revolve. Inhale back through center, extend both feet forward, move the flesh from your sitting bones back, toes point to the sky, thigh bones pressed to the ground. Coming into staff pose, hands on either side of your hips. Pulling up the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha. Lower belly supporting you, Uddiyana Bandha. And then bringing your chin and your chest a little closer towards each other. More the idea of just slightly dropping the chin and lifting your chest towards your chin, Jalandhara Bandha. The bandha is our energy locks. Maintaining your Ujjayi Pranayam. And release Jalandhara Bandha, bending the knees, coming into a version of Navasana. If you have a block, please place that between your thighs. And although oftentimes we tell you to shift your heart up and use all pure hip flexion here, I actually want you to hollow out your belly. So you're using more abdominals here. Little bit of a rounding, but not too much. So scooping out your navel. Maybe letting your toes rise off the floor. So I want you to feel this more through the strength of your abdomen versus pure hip flexion. Using abdominal muscles here in Navasana, reaching through the toes. Option to hold the back of the thighs. Heart stays open, broadening across the collarbones, hollowing out the belly, and lower the feet to the floor. Exhale to slowly, slowly lower down. I need to move my mic and keep journeying down in concert with your breath. And draw the knees into the chest, remove the block. Nice and close, hug those thigh bones in towards the torso. We're preparing for our inversions. You have a couple of options. If shoulder stand is not something that you've practiced before, you might want to bring your legs to a wall. If shoulder stand is in your practice, you'd like to fold up the end of your mat to make sure your neck is free, please do that. Option is extending your legs. If you're not near a wall, let those ankles come just forward of your hips. Soften your knees slightly, coming into dead bug pose with your fingertips pointing to the sky, softening the fingers. Shoulder blades stay on the ground. So this is modification number 1 for your inversion. If you're near a wall, you can bring your legs up the wall. The glutes in this particular case are about 8 inches away from the wall in preparation for coming into a supported shoulder stand. Feet are about hip distance apart. Or of course you can stay right here. If you have any neck issues, you never come into shoulder stand. But if you'd like to explore shoulder stand as a modified option here, again, the hips are about 8 inches away from the floor so that when you bend your knees, the soles of the feet can find find the wall. And as you press into those feet, you feel the weight shifting into your shoulder blades. It is not shifting into your neck. You might need to adjust the distance between yourself and the wall. So making sure that if you're in this variation with the feet on the wall, that you're bearing weight on the arm bones, not on the neck. Maybe play with one leg at a time. Again, a nice way to access entering into shoulder stand safely. And if that feels comfortable, quite comfortable and safe, you can then extend both feet up away from the wall. You'd be gazing towards your toes, pressing the arm bones down into the ground. There's some support through the navel. You can always keep your feet on the wall or lower your hips right down to the ground. And begin to exit out of your inversions, keeping the heads on the ground. Everybody can draw their knees in towards their chest or plant the feet on the floor with the head resting on the earth. Arms out from the heart, nice and wide, reaching the right leg up, crossing it over the left knee. Pick your glutes up, shimmy slightly towards the right, so that right glute is off the floor, and on the next exhalation, lower the knees down towards the left, keeping the left side of your chest on the ground. Opening the right shoulder blade down onto the ground, breathing into the right ribs. Coming back to center, hug both knees into your chest and release, uncross the legs. Extend the left leg up to the sky, cross your thighs really close together. Squeeze those thighs together. Pick your glutes up, shimmy them slightly to the left so that now your left buttock is off the floor, and exhale, continuing to descend and rotate the spine as the knees come to the right, broadening across your chest, breathing space into the left side of your body. Coming back to center, hugging those interlaced knees in really close, squeezing in, and then exhale, release down, uncross the legs. Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, inner thighs shining to the sky. Begin to release your Ujjayi Pranayam. Come into a more relaxed breath as we enter towards the end of our practice. Maybe even placing your hands on your body to reestablish your connection to your breath. Your practice doesn't expect you to show up happy. It asks that you be present. It doesn't mind if you are put together or if you are a mess. You can arrive with a jumbled mind and a heavy heart, Your practice couldn't care less if you can touch your toes or meditate for hours. It simply asks that you show up. You show up to your practice, and your practice will always show up to you. It will never let you down. Let your knees begin to draw together, and then lengthen your feet towards the corners of your mats, separating them nice and wide. Let the toes flop open. Walk your shoulder blades under the back body. Shine your heart to the sky. Relax the toes. Relax the fingers. Prepare for Savasana, final relaxation. Inhale deep into the body. Hold for a brief moment and exhale, sigh it away. Notice the weight of your body descending towards the support of the earth. The muscles can release their hold of the bones, and the organs can drop down towards the ground. The breath is very soft, and the body completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. Begin to visualize your body on the earth, perhaps even from a bird's eye view. As you see your outline of the body on the ground, begin to trace an outline around its form, tracing that outline just outside of the physical body. See this outline through your mind's eye. Begin to allow the physical form to melt towards that outline, melting like candle wax into the space around it. The outline continues to broaden and move from the body, just as the body continues to melt outwards towards the outline. Both continue to spread wide into the surrounding space until the outline and the body merge with the surrounding space. No longer a separation. All is one. The molecules of your body are dancing with those of the universe. A celebration of oneness. a recognition, a truth that ultimately all is one. See your body on the ground once again, seeing its form take shape on the earth. Feeling once again the muscles and the bones and their weight. Feel and experience the breath as it courses in and out of this physical form. Begin to gently move your fingers, your wrists, your toes, your ankles. Bending one knee at a time. Draw one in towards the chest and then the other. Hug both thighs in nice and close. Rolling over onto one side and pressing yourself up. Crossing your legs. Let your shoulders come up of your hips. Feel your heart space open. Thank you once again for choosing to practice with me. Thank you for bringing yourself to the mat. Each time we bring ourselves to the mat, we do not only ourselves, but the world a great service in connecting, growing, experiencing, opening. Thank you for taking care of yourselves. I bow to your light. Shine your light into the world. If you enjoyed this practice, please don't forget to hit subscribe, or perhaps even continue your practice with one of the meditations. There will be a link at the end of this video. Thank you again. Until next time.